So welcome back to my top 10 happy console gamer moments of 2015. Now, it's been a really busy year with the show. I think I put over 100 episodes out, and I just wanted to talk about some of my top 10 moments I had making the show this year. Some highlight moments that really stood out from the rest, and man, it's been a crazy year. I think at number 10, the one that got me the most this year was the show hit 100,000 subscribers. And I want to thank all of you guys again for supporting the show and hopefully enjoying the show over the years. But it was quite the milestone. It was something that I never thought that the show would hit. It's just something I've done for the last 8 years for fun and entertainment. And it's gained an audience, which is wonderful. And that definitely is my number 10. Number 9 is an unusual one. It really is. I went down to Philadelphia and I met up with GameSack and I had a really great time with those guys. And I picked up a lot of stuff at that convention. And when I came back, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I did an episode called My Game Sack? Because they gave me a game sack. And I thought I'd pull the video games out and just talk about them there. So what I decided to do for that episode was recreate the opening to Game Sack. And it took me a good afternoon, me and my friend Andrew, when he was out, a hot, sweaty afternoon, recreating the opening. And I think I did a really good job. Now at number 8, I got to do something I never get a chance to do, and that is a game room tour. I did like a 45-minute tour of my game room, and I don't think I've ever done one as in-depth in the entire show's history, and I had a lot of fun doing it. My arm was dying holding the camera at the end of the 45 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, I just gotta get through the rest of this. And I was really happy to get through and just show you guys like some of the stuff in my collection. Okay, this is a funny one. This is really a funny one to me. My April 1st joke episode, a parody episode. It really was. I did a review on a potato. Yeah, a review on a potato, and doing this show, I know what I do a lot. I know I always do the welcome back to another episode and until next time, and I do my reviews a certain type of way, and I know that better than anybody, honestly, because I'm the one editing it all the time. And I wanted to do an episode where I'm kind of making fun of myself, because if I can't make fun of myself, then that's just ridiculous if I can't do that. And so I decided to do a straight-laced review of a potato and see if I could just do it the way I do some of my other reviews. And it kind of scared me how well I did it. Like, a potato. And she's like, yeah, we're gonna be having potatoes tonight. And I'm like, what's a potato? At number 6 is the opening to the Ernest Evans review that I did. A very forgotten game by Renovation back in the olden days of the Genesis Mega CD. And it's an Indiana Jones style adventure game. And I was like, man, I really want to do like an adventure skit to start it off with. And I really enjoyed getting together the jacket and the hat and getting to this ravine for the day and filming where I kind of grew up in North Delta. That's a place in Vancouver here where me and Rob grew up, and just getting to reenact like a scene out of Indiana Jones for Ernest Evans of all games. Now, number 5 is a kind of a two-parter in here. It was E3 news, and I wasn't in the games room, which was so unfortunate. I was visiting my mom and sister for a couple of weeks back out east, and when that happened, it was E3, and the news came with Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced, and Shenmue 3, the Kickstarter, was announced during the Sony conference, and I was just floored. And I didn't know what to do, so I went down to the basement, and there's all these kids' toys behind me, and I had to kind of keep it down because everybody was kind of asleep in the house, and I was going crazy down there. I was so excited. It was really a memorable moment that I will never forget for E3. It just was so exciting. Oh my God, we're getting Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and we're getting Shenmue 3. It's been a very, very good year for video game announcements. At number 4 is my Ninja Combat Cyberlip Neo Geo review skit. And I got to do this with Kim, and it was just So funny that I would even decided to do this, and I don't think a lot of people saw the review, but it didn't matter. Me and Kim had a lot of fun doing this skit where I was reenacting one of the old advertisements from the game where there's this girl and she's kind of like, dressed kind of like scantily clad, and the guy isn't paying attention to her. He's just like playing the Neo Geo. And I was saying in the review, I'm like, that would never happen in reality.
Johnny, I need you. I want you.
What? I don't have time for you. I'm playing Dynamite Ducks. Ducks. It's all about ducks. I was so happy I got Kim to do that. At number 3 was a mega nostalgic episode for me. One of the ones I kind of live for doing on the show, where I got on my skateboard and I went back to where I grew up and I went and visited some old houses that I used to play video games with, where my friends used to live in those houses. Now, I blurred the kind of, I turned the contrast quite up, and I didn't turn on the ND filter on the camera to purposely blind out some of the house numbers and stuff like that, because I was kind of creeping a little bit, but it was really fun to go and relive those moments. Playing Wonder Boy Monsterland at my old friend Swagger's place, or playing Ninja Gaiden at my friend Schneel's place, or playing Street Fighter where the arcade used to be when I was younger. Now, number 2 was an episode that really, really did well and was really well received, and I was so excited about it because it was something I wanted to do on the show for the last 7 years. It really was something I was like, oh my god, I would love to do this. An episode with my friend Andrew. Finally, the guy down the street who had every single game before me when I grew up, and I was always pounding my fist on the table going, God damn that kid. But he was always a great friend of mine. He still is to this day, and he came up and stayed with me for about 4 days, and we got to do a couple of episodes together, and it was wonderful. The episode was called Hes Here, and it was just so great to have Andrew on. And I'll be honest with you, Andrew's never been in front of a camera before in his life. And the chemistry just came out with me and him, and the episode is one of my most treasured episodes. It really is. It just flowed completely right. We were able to share a lot of memories about when we first saw Phantasy Star for the first time, and just talk about our time growing up together as friends, as video gamers. It's one of the highlight moments of the show. Now, number 1 was cool in quite a few ways. It was an unexpected success of an episode. It was one that I thought maybe 20,000 people would see. I didn't think 440,000 people would see this episode. And it was the episode on the unreleased South Park game that my friend Brian had picked up at the Retro Gaming Expo. And there was it was a dev kit with this like a South Park game on the original Xbox. And everybody was bugging me, because I said in the episode, I said, oh, yeah, that dune buggy, and everybody's like, it's a warthog. Well, when we were playing the game at first, I didn't recognize it as a warthog. Those graphics were kind of like, it wasn't jumping off the screen at me at that time as that. I was thinking it was more a military vehicle from South Park. But anyways, the episode went completely viral. It was picked up by every single major news site out there. I couldn't believe it. I was going to Kotaku, to Polygon, to IGN. I mean, it was everywhere. It was all over the place. I've never seen that before. I don't know if I'll ever see it again for the show, for an episode that went so viral. It was kind of crazy watching it all happen, because I remember I looked at first, I'm like, oh, okay, the episode's at like 20,000 views. I'm like, that's pretty good for the first day. And then I think it was about an hour later, I'm like, it's at 80,000. I'm like, what? My episodes never usually jump up that high, that fast. And I was like, holy crap, this is going to get big. And it did. And we were really happy to share with the world this incredible discovery of this game that was unreleased on the Xbox. And I ripped all the footage off it and was able to show that game to everybody. And I was so happy. It was so well received. And everybody got some enjoyment out of it and got to learn about this game that, basically we'd never even heard about. So guys, was there any other moments of the show that you've really enjoyed over the last year? Something that was a highlight moment? Another for me was definitely the Lords of Thunder podcast that I've been doing with Alpha Mega Sin. I'm doing a weekly podcast again. We're up past episode 12 now. We're doing really, really well with it. And also finalbosses.com. A website where I can completely put unedited you know, unfiltered, whatever the frick I want to put up onto the internet. I can put up on final bosses and not worry about copyrights and pissing people off. I can do whatever the hell I want. So it's been a really good year for the show, and I just want to thank all of you again for watching. And there's going to be a lot more for 2016, I can tell you that. So anyways, guys, until next time.